We have a number of folks here with us that I'd like to recognize. I have our Secretary of the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, Dane Eagle, with me. Do we have Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronis? We have the State Representative for this area, Brad Drake. We've got our Deputy Director, Florida Division of Emergency Management, Jimmy Bujeda. And then I think we got commissioners from Washington County, so I want to thank you all for coming out. I think we have the Mayor of Chipley is here, and we're really excited to be here and excited to be able to, normally when I show up places, I come bearing gifts, and so we have a good announcement today. We'll be able to provide some money, not just to Washington County, but some other neighboring counties. We also have Congressman Neil Dunn here. So you have all of Washington County in your district?
I do.
Okay, so he's got Washington County, so he's y'all's congressman. He's also my congressman at the governor's mansion. I'm in his district. And I just want him to know, as a constituent, I don't like what I see going on up in Washington, D.C. right now. So if you could get him to kick it into gear, maybe it'll take an election. I don't know. But we've got a lot of problems, I think, coming out of Washington. And you have all this inflation. You have gas. You have everything going up. And they want to print more money. That's not the way to fight inflation. And so we're proud of what we've been able to do in Florida. You look, I just did the budget last week for the state of Florida. Our governor's budget came in at $99.7 billion. We have states that are similar population to us, like in New York. They got 3 million fewer people. Their budget is like $230 billion, over twice our size, but yet they have worse roads, infrastructure, schools, universities, and obviously a lot more crime. And so we have $99.7 billion, 15+ billion in budget surplus in our reserve funds. And so that's really what you want to be doing. And no income tax, and the lowest tax burden in the country per capita. But we're also doing huge things with infrastructure. We're doing huge things with education. We're doing huge things with, I just did a great announcement where we're doing a commercial vehicle license expansion so people can become truck drivers. You make a lot of money doing that right now. So we're doing all these things. We're doing huge bonuses and pay increase for law enforcement. 25% salary increase for state law enforcement, and $5,000 signing bonuses for new law enforcement coming into Florida. So we're proud to be able to do those really big things, but then do it on a very prudent budget and having a lot of money in the rainy day fund in case we have something that happens down the pike. So we're going to keep on doing that. We're going to keep putting wins on the board. At the same time, we realized when I became governor, they had just had Hurricane Michael had swept through in October of 2018. And it was a huge deal. People were paying attention. And then it seemed like 3 weeks later, like anyone outside of Northwest Florida, they just kind of moved on. So when I became governor, I said, we haven't moved on. We understand we need to do. There was things we needed to do immediately, and we were able to do a lot funding. But I also said this is a long-term effort. You look at the closest thing we've had to Michael in Florida in the last 30, 40 years was Hurricane Andrew down in Homestead. And honestly, that's never recovered, if you want to be honest about it. So we have, I think we're doing a better job here in Northwest Florida, but I mean, this is something that requires a lot of attention. And so I told my agencies, I said, if there's federal dollars that we can get, let's get it. Let's try to cut through the bureaucracy. And then if there's things we can do on the state level to help some of the local communities, particularly some of the rural counties and some of the smaller areas. There were places in Northwest Florida where the debris cleanup was like 10 times the total budget for like a municipality or some of these areas. And so obviously you need help with that. So we've been able to pay out over $1 billion in disaster recovery thus far, and we're always looking for more to do. So when the hurricane hit, counties in Northwest Florida had the opportunity to apply for something called FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program funds. And it helps communities build back from damaged areas to where they will be more resilient if future storms come. The problem is the FEMA funds require the community to pay 25% match in order to receive the funding. Well, that's not something that all these communities are able to do and can afford. And so through the Department of Economic Opportunity, we have been able to cover the match for local communities. In October, we announced more than $3.1 million in hazard mitigation grant program awards for the Panhandle. And today we're here with an even better announcement. And I'm proud that today we're going to be awarding an additional $8.9 million for 32 projects, including nearly $1 million just in Washington County alone. The rest of the projects span across Northwest Florida, include things like $1.7 million for 6 projects in Jackson County, 2 projects in Calhoun County, 2 in Gadsden, 1 project in Gulf County, 1 in Leon, and 19 projects in Bay County. So these funds will help impacted communities strengthen their infrastructure and help them mitigate damage from future hurricanes. So we want to thank the folks in all these areas here who've worked very well with our state folks, and we're going to continue to do what we can to be helpful. So I think this will make a big difference. So I'm actually going to present money to the check. So this is the Washington County portion of what we're doing. So who from the county wants to receive? There we go. All right. Yeah. It's almost $1 million, so not bad, not bad. Okay. There you go. Yep, absolutely. All right, so we're going to have a couple folks come up and say a few things. So let me invite up the chairman of the commission, Trey Hawkins.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor DeSantis, for visiting Washington County. Most of all, thank you for your non-wavering support in our religious and constitutional beliefs. Thank you for leading Florida with facts, not fear. Thank you for your leadership. While Florida is thriving, other states are floundering. In today's society, people are full of empty promises, but you, Governor DeSantis, are a man of action. You're building back Florida better. Hurricane Michael happened 1,164 days ago. Since that time, Governor DeSantis, with his leadership, has produced more than $180 million of road and infrastructure needs to Washington County, mitigated over 24 homes, totaling over $5 million. As of today, through his efforts, we're pumping out the south end of the county, removing the mitigation of water damage, and trying to save over 30 homes. He's resolved permitting issues to allow debris removal and paving along the way. Since becoming governor, DeSantis has not only seen broadband as a necessity, he's went as far as opening a division of broadband in DEO. Through the Department of Broadband, we have received $1.5 million to make broadband a reality in Washington County. You're making sure DEM's working tirelessly to understand the needs of Washington County to fund Hurricane Sally fully. Governor, thank you. God bless Washington County. God bless Florida, and God bless you and your family.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks so much. And we did do in my governor's budget, we did a lot of money for additional rural broadband, and so that's something that we're fortunate enough to be able to have the capacity to do. And we understand it's important, and so I think what we propose, and if the legislature supports, it'll be probably the most significant investment that we've ever done along those lines. And so we're happy to work with folks here in Washington County and around the state to do it. Okay, Congressman Neil Dunn.
It's always a great day when Governor DeSantis shows up in Florida, isn't it? I mean, really amazing, yeah. You know, he's setting the pace for governors all around the country. I speak to a lot of congressmen up in my normal day job up in Washington. I have to tell you, they express a lot of governor envy. They wish they had my governor. But you know, we're really, really fortunate to have a governor and his staff. By the way, let me compliment your staff. They've been outstanding to work with. And simply, very proactive, reaching out, trying to help all of these counties, rural and otherwise, really make a difference with this kind of money that we comes in after these disasters. And we all know what it's like to live through a disaster, but it's also great to see the comeback afterwards. And I give a lot of credit to the governor and to his staff, a lot of whom are locals, and old friends. So let's, in fact, this building here is a representation back when we had replacement. I know you all remember when we rebuilt this courthouse. So it's great to work with Governor DeSantis. Let's keep, you have a chance in next November to bring him back as governor. And I apologize for Washington. Profusely, I apologize for Washington. It is going to take an election to clean up Washington, and I hope you help me with that, too. God bless all of you. Merry Christmas.
And just for the record, we like Washington County much better than Washington, D.C. You know, I run into some of Neil's colleagues, and some of these guys were my colleagues. I was in the Congress. I'm a recovering congressman. I think I've shaken most of it off, but I mean, you know, you go up and, you know, being a swamp, and they'll be like, oh, Ron, we really miss you up here. And I say, I don't miss you guys at all. I'm happy where I am. And so thanks, Neil, for working hard, and hopefully we can turn some things around up there soon. We've also had, you know, throughout this in the governor's office and our DEM and the staff, and we've been very supportive, obviously, of the Panhandle, but we also have somebody on the cabinet in Florida who's from the Panhandle and really saw firsthand a lot of the destruction being from Bay County. And so our CFO, Jimmy Petronas, has really been a strong supporter of supporting these communities and assisting with these efforts. And so I'm going to bring him up to say a few things.
Good morning. Thank y'all for having me. Governor, thank you for being here. I'm going to repeat something you've heard me say before, but the most significant speech, at least in my opinion, that the governor's given since he's been in office is his inaugural address. At his inaugural address, it's pretty hard not to get emotional when he outlines his commitment to the recovery of Northwest Florida after Hurricane Michael. He could be talking about anything else. He can be talking about his vision. No, he talked about the recovery. Matter of fact, the very next day, his first full day in office, he was in Panama City. And the next day, and then I think it was 2 days later, he was back in Northwest Florida. In that 2-week period after his inaugural, he was probably in Northwest Florida a minimum of 8 times. So his commitment, he allows no daylight to get between he and his constituents in Northwest Florida, his passion for these people that live here. There are people, there are families, there are neighbors. Governor, when you look around here, I mean, this is the cream of the crop of Northwest Florida. You've got water management members, you got the county judge, you got your county commissioners, and then you got everybody who makes this community work. So proud to be here with y'all, but you know, more proud of my governor. There's just so many times. If you raise your hand if you've heard, let's make America like Florida. Have you heard that? Have you heard that? Hey, George. You know, there's not enough common sense in governance, and the envy that we have all over the United States is what we're doing here in Florida, and it starts at the top. If the governor's willing to lead, if he's willing to take the hits, if he's willing to blaze the trail, it makes it a lot easier for folks like myself and members of our legislature like Brad Drake and all others to funnel right behind him and let him blaze the trail, and we become the cheerleaders for his leadership. Anyway, glad to have y'all here. Governor, thank you for the good news. And Dane, thanks for bringing the check. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, we do think we view Florida as having lead the way, and a lot of times I'm out in front on that, and that's great. But you know, a lot of what we've done, we've worked hard hand in hand with our legislature, our House and Senate members who've stood up with us to do what's right, and I think the state is doing a lot better as a result. And hopefully, you know, they'll be very supportive in this next legislation of all the things we've already outlined that we want to seek to do, whether it's supporting law enforcement, education, whether it's what we outlined yesterday with making sure we have good curriculum in the schools, whether it's my Job Growth Grant Fund, where if there's a need in Washington County for infrastructure or job training, you could apply to my office, and I may come in with another check, you know, in the future to do that. We just did one in Nassau County where we're doing the truck drivers, and so it's been very effective. We were in We were in Okaloosa. We did some stuff for diesel mechanics, and these are really good jobs. And so we have the wherewithal to be able to do that, and we will. So Representative Brad Drake has been supportive of all these efforts to help the Panhandle, and has been a really good advocate for you all. So I'm going to let him come up and say a few things.
Well, Merry Christmas. It's everybody's favorite time of the year. It's the season of giving. Now, the three wise men brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Governor Ron DeSantis brought good old-fashioned cash. And we appreciate that, Governor. In fact, if he keeps coming around this time of year, every year dropping off gifts, we may refer to him as DeSantis Claus. That may catch on. But, Governor, we want to thank you. You have been instrumental to this community. 2 months after the worst thing that has ever happened in Northwest Florida, we got devastated by the wrath of Hurricane Michael. 2 months later, this man was elected to be our leader of the state, to be the caretaker of Florida and look after its citizens. And Governor DeSantis, on his first day on the job, he came right here to Northwest Florida. He took up time with our elderly, our law enforcement, our frontline workers. He took up time with citizens. He wanted to make sure that he understood the needs of this community and that he could go back to Tallahassee and that he could go to Washington, D.C. and bring the essential items here for Northwest Floridians. And he hasn't stopped there. If you noticed, a couple weeks ago, he came out with his proposed budget, and he's proposed over $100 million for rural infrastructure. That's never happened in our state, to have that type of aggressive proposal for rural infrastructure for Northwest Florida and for all of our rural communities. So, Governor, we want to thank you for your commitment to the rural areas. Thank you all for allowing us to be here. And I tell you what, Governor, you've got a lot of friends here in Northwest Florida. I know you got your detail here, but you're on friendly ground. 85% of the people in this community supported you, and I bet next year let's get 90.
All right.
Good to see you.
Thank you. And we appreciate being able to help out with a lot of stuff, and not just hurricane, but with our budget, the infrastructure, all this. I think that there's some great opportunities, and bright future. That's what Chipley's all about. So we want to be there. We also had help with the hurricane stuff. We had help from the Trump administration back then, and that was a lot of funds that we were able to bring down from them, and they didn't necessarily have to do it, but they did. So I do want to say thank you to the Trump administration. I don't get as much help anymore from Washington, it's just the way politics works. But we will certainly help. If they want to help Michael, we will certainly want to do it. So we'll be back. We want to do more. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and that you're able to spend time with your friends and family. My daughter just turned 5, so she's kind of an old pro at Christmas. My son is 3.5, and he didn't quite understand Santa Claus fully last Christmas. So this is really the first Christmas where he's asking a lot of questions about Santa Claus. And I can tell you this, anytime I remind him Santa's watching, he does improve his behavior. So it does work. So we're looking forward to doing that. And from my family to yours, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks so much, and God bless.